Sniper Elite VR. Let's talk about it. So, Sniper Elite VR is just another Sniper Elite game made by Rebellion, but this time it's in VR, obviously. So, I played it on Oculus Quest 2, and originally, I have to be honest, when I first got it and I started playing it, I played the first two missions and quit. It was super bad. It was not very enjoyable to play at all. The stability was way out of whack, so you couldn't really line up your sniper rifle to take any shots, a whole bunch of stuff like that. And it was just absolutely brutal and grueling to play without a rifle attachment for your controllers. However, I came back to this game a couple months ago and I ended up really enjoying it. So at this point, the game has 18 missions. I'm not sure if there will be updates to add more or if they'll add anything else, but currently it's also only a campaign. However, like I said, it has 18 missions. The game takes about 9 hours to complete the main quests and the side missions. To get all of the trophies and awards and everything, it takes about 12 hours. So in this game, you play as an Italian resistance sniper who later ends up being called the Spectre by the Axis forces after he goes through and completes a bunch of the missions, and he takes out a bunch of people, and he just shows absolutely no fear and barges into one of their forts and eliminates a betrayer, so to speak. I don't want to give away too much of the story and make you not interested in playing it. So, long story short, the guns in this game are a lot of fun to play with. However, you can't really customize them. There's not anything you can do to customize them. You have all World War II centered weapons, but there's a bunch of unique-ish weapons, so that's a lot of fun to use as well, because some of them I've never even seen in other Sniper Elite games. So that's pretty impressive, having guns you've never seen before. There's also, as usual, all the explosives, all the traps, the trip mines, the S-mines, whatever you want to call them. All that kind of stuff's in here. The TNT, Panzerfausts, all that good stuff's still in here. So it's not like you really get much of a downgrade from a regular Sniper Elite game. It's still got, like I said, 9 hours of gameplay to it as well, so that's pretty on par with other Sniper Elite games. Now, the maps are a little bit smaller. The challenges are a lot less. It's kind of hard to have really big challenges in a VR game like this, especially when you have to make the map smaller and everything for the whole 360 experience. However, it still looks pretty decent. To me, this looks more graphically wise of like Sniper Elite V2 or V3, but for a VR game, the graphics are pretty good. It's not as good as Green Hell, but they are pretty good. So, again, the guns are really good. They're a lot of fun to use. You've got everything from the regular MP40 up to some really unique and weird weapons that I don't want to spoil or give away, but trust me, I've never seen them in other Sniper Elite games, so they're really fun to use. You can go around and scavenge ammo off of people, unlike some of the newer Sniper Elite games, specifically Sniper Elite 5, where you couldn't scavenge ammo off of dead bodies. Really, I mean, you could search the dead bodies, but in this one you can't search the dead bodies, but you can go up, take their gun, and pull their clip off if it's a assault rifle or SMG, and if it's a pistol, you can pull the magazine out. But on actual, like, full-size, like, sniper rifles and stuff, you can't pull the ammo out. So that is a little bit annoying, but not too bad. And like I said, you can run up and you can take the ammo off of other things. Also, you can run up and pick up the weapon real quick and use it to fight back. Now, depending on how you want to play, the mines you use, all that kind of good stuff, you can carry 3 pistols on your body, or 2. And if you carry 2 pistols, then you can carry 2 trip mines or whatever you want to carry, as well as you can carry 2 grenades at all times, and your rifle, and an SMG or assault rifle or shotgun. There's only 3 options for shotguns in this game. There's like a sawed-off shotgun, a drilling rifle, which only uses 2 shotgun shells, and a combat shotgun, or a trench gun, or the 1893 shotgun, whatever you want to call it. It's either one of those 3 names. So that's a lot of fun to use. I personally prefer to run around with the combat shotgun when I'm playing, and I like to run around with the Luger or the C96 Mauser. I personally enjoy both of those guns, but there's also a couple other pistols, and as usual, the silenced gun, the Well Rod. As far as actual rifles and stuff go, None of the rifles are silenced. None of the SMGs are silenced. So again, it's a lot like the old one, like V2, where nothing really was silenced except for the well rod. So that's pretty normal. As far as the actual combat and gameplay goes, it's pretty smooth. The only problems that I really ran into on my second run through was that guns wouldn't fire. Like if I pulled the trigger on my controller, the trigger wouldn't actually fully depress on the actual gun, so the gun wouldn't end up firing, and sometimes I'd have to pull the trigger several times before it actually responded. Now that could be an issue with my controllers, as they are a couple years old, or it could just be the game. I'm not really sure on that one, but it is an issue I ran into. Beyond that, I didn't really have any glitches, didn't really have anything else, except that sometimes enemies could shoot you through like buildings and walls and stuff if you were hiding behind them. And that's a little bit annoying too, but it only happened a few times and it wasn't really a big deal for the majority of my gameplay. So to me, it didn't really feel like much of an issue at all. Beyond that, the story is really good. It doesn't give you like a lot of story, but it does give you enough that it keeps you interested, and it is about par for a regular Sniper Elite game. It's just a little bit less than normal. Again, there are a lot of things that you have to go around and collect, a lot of hidden items and stuff that you can find inside of the missions, so that's really good. The only other thing that I don't enjoy too much is I don't really get a knife in the game, so I can't really like go up and make sneak kills. You have to use your rifle, pistol, shotgun, whatever, to make a like bash for a melee kill. And I personally would prefer to just have a knife that I had on my chest and I could pull out and, you know. But beyond that, again, not really any issues. This game was a lot of fun to play through the second time. There were several updates between the last time I'd played it and this time, so I think that's what fixed all the issues I was having. I would recommend having a rifle attachment if you're someone who struggles with like arm to arm stability. So like if you have your arms extended and you can't really, get a steady, non-shaky shot, because if you can't, then you're mostly going to end up just like waving your gun around the whole time and your rifle isn't really going to, hit anything. And that would make the game almost impossible to play. However, I didn't end up needing one for this with the new updates and stuff. So I think most people should be fine playing it. Flash-wise, I'm just saying this because a lot of people have said some stuff about games like this in VR. But flash-wise, I didn't really run into any problems with like muzzle flash and stuff like that while I was playing the game. So I wouldn't really expect that to be much of like an epileptic issue for most people. There are a couple other things that might be, but for the most part, there's not a lot of like flashing lights. Most of it's pretty tame, so it should be okay. But again, there's no real good way to know on that, but flashing wasn't really a big issue on muzzle flash. Other than that, like I said, the game's enjoyable. It just had those few small issues. Beyond that, it was pretty enjoyable. Loved the guns, loved the gameplay, the graphics were okay, loved the campaign mode, all of that. I wish there was a multiplayer option where I could run through and play with, one of my friends or something like that, even if it was just a co-op, not like a 4-player multiplayer. But still, it was a lot of fun. And I think it was like $20, $25 when I first got it. So that's a pretty good price for a 9-hour VR game. So yeah, I would go ahead and give the game a check.